June 2001, night. A former Air Force sergeant, Brian Reagan, drives to Pocahontas State Park in Virginia. He carries with him a shovel, night vision goggles, GPS, and a bag full of classified documents. Documents which Reagan believed contained enough information to start a war. This information was stolen from Reagan's employer, the National Reconnaissance Office, a highly secretive government agency responsible for monitoring and maintaining United States spy satellites. 2 months pass, and on August 23, 2001, Reagan exits the NRO office, supposedly headed for Orlando in a week-long family vacation. Instead, he heads to Dulles International Airport, planning to board a flight to Zurich. Reagan plans to meet with foreign officials and sell them the location of the buried documents. Luckily, however, Reagan never made it on the plane. FBI agents grabbed him as he boarded the shuttle to the gate. He'd been under surveillance for months. A foreign source had informed the United States of an offer to sell intelligence information, and the offer was riddled with misspellings. Reagan, who was dyslexic, was the prime suspect. He would later become known as the spy who couldn't spell. The FBI agents found documents with cryptic scribblings all over his person, including inside his shoes. They also found the addresses of the Iraqi and Chinese embassies. While the FBI had successfully detained Reagan, there was no conclusive proof that he had committed any wrong. The FBI needed to crack the codes that Reagan was using to protect the location of the packages. A major breakthrough in the cryptanalysis came from applying a common memorization trick used by dyslexics, using images to remember text. Reagan had used words such as post or tree to refer to 1, motorcycle or binary for 2, and tricycle for 3. By applying this pattern, the FBI was able to surmise that Reagan had been carrying the locations of Iraqi surface-to-air missiles. In the hands of the Iraqi government, this information would have been crippling for the United States' ability to safely patrol Iraqi airspace. As valuable as this information was, it was also simply a tantalizing sample of more intelligence. Letters found on Reagan's computer implied a huge stash of hidden material that he was offering for $13 million. The FBI now had a new problem, locating and recovering this hidden stash. The FBI assumed that the other documents seized at the airport, an alphanumeric string and a list of trinomes, or sets of 3 numbers, held the key to finding the stash. After a largely unsuccessful attempt by the National Security Agency to deduce the meaning of these and other messages, and rising pressure on the NSA to focus on messages generated from 9/11, the task was reassigned to Daniel Olson, a rising star in FBI cryptanalysis. Olson took just a few weeks to decipher the series of alphanumeric characters. The answer had been hidden in elementary cryptanalysis using a technique called a Caesar cipher. A Caesar cipher is a type of substitution cipher in which each letter in the plain text is replaced by a letter some fixed positions away from it on the alphabet. For example, with a shift value of 3, the letter A would be replaced by D, and the letter B would become E. The alphanumeric string was revealed to contain the addresses of Swiss banks. Reagan later admitted that he had planned to have his clients pay him in cash so he could immediately deposit the money at the bank. The deciphering of the alphanumeric string left the FBI with only one more piece of information: the trinomes. Both the message of the Iraqi missiles and the location of the banks had been significant, but they were not what the FBI was hoping to find. They were not the locations of the hidden intelligence packets. Olson struggles with the trinomes, but has no luck. However, Reagan had just been convicted of attempted espionage and sentenced to life in prison. This was a spark of luck for the FBI, as they could now attempt to strike a deal with Reagan. They agreed to protect Reagan's wife and family from all charges, as well as removing him from solitary confinement, if he would help them decipher the trinomes. He quickly admitted that he had buried thousands of documents in state parks across the country, centering in Virginia and Maryland. The plan, Reagan said, had been to receive payment from foreign intelligence agencies and then provide them with the coordinates to the packages. This would allow Reagan to avoid the most dangerous part of the espionage, the exchange. The Virginia packages were quickly located with help from Reagan. However, a more serious concern soon emerged. After a year in prison, he simply did not remember how he had encoded the locations of the Maryland packages. The secret, Olson and Reagan believed, was hidden within the sequence of trinomes based off of a cipher known as a book code. Book code ciphers work by replacing words in the message with the location of words from the book being used. For example, the word work may appear on the 7th page fourth line, and maybe the fifth word in the sentence. To hide the word work, the encoder would replace it with the numbers 7, 4, 5. Reagan and Olson worked intensely for multiple days. They knew the book code was based off of Reagan's high school yearbook, but they could not decipher how the numbers related to the book. Rather than using the standard page, line, word numbering, Reagan had devised a complex, custom scheme. After multiple days of trying to crack the code, Reagan was returned to his cell. The next Monday, he passed a message to Olson. I have the solution. Using the new method, Reagan and Olson were able to correctly turn the trinomes into the coordinates for the hidden packages. However, when attempting to find the packages, the FBI was unsuccessful. Reagan was eventually brought on site in a final desperate attempt to locate the stash. After a few tense minutes, it all emerged that Reagan had made one simple mistake, and all of the packages were successfully recovered. Reagan now serves a life sentence in federal prison and will forever be known as the spy who couldn't spell.